Derek O'Brien.
सर, कई साल पहले मैं पाकिस्तान गया था। वहां मेरे पाकिस्तानी दोस्त ने पूछा, पिछले 5000 सालों में हमें पूछा, पिछले 5000 सालों में वो कौन सी एक किताब है जो सबसे समावेशी, आदर्शवादी और समतावादी थे। Sir, my Hindi was so bad, so I couldn't answer his question. So he tried the same words again in Urdu, and my Urdu is almost zero. So the exact words he used were सबसे आला, यक तब कति और सबसे जामा. I didn't have the answer, sir. So he asked me
Please, order.
the same question in English. He asked my Pakistani friend, which is the most inclusive, which is the most idealistic, which is the most egalitarian book written in the last 5,000 years? And he answered in Urdu, Dastur-e-Hind, Bharat ka Samvidhan, the Constitution of India. Sir, through this simple story, this pays our Constitution a great compliment. Today is not the day to try and be regional. I was very tempted to start by saying that the first four names, if you look at the draft of the Constitution, the first four names, Dr. Sarath Chandra Bose, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Kiran Shankar Rai, and the great lawyer Frank Anthony, the first four names were all sent to the Constituent Assembly from the state of Bengal, where I come from. Sir, the Americans have the shortest constitution of 4,000 odd words. We have the longest constitution in the world, 1,11,369 words. That's a lot of words, sir. We were the 25th country to get a constitution, and we would have inspired another 150 after us who have got their constitutions. Sir, but more than the words, sometimes films tend to capture the mood even better. Sir, 15 years ago, there was a very nice film made on Dr. Ambedkar. It was a biopic, and if you look through the credits of that film, they have a story. The screenwriter of that film on Dr. Ambedkar was Sonu Taraporowala from the minority Parsi community. The director of the film was a staunch Hindu from Maharashtra, Jabbar Patel. And the role of Dr. Ambedkar was played by the legendary Muslim Malayali actor Mammootty. So as I said, sometimes films have their own stories to tell. And before I move on to make some specific comments on the Constitution, how we fared in the last 65 years, we would also like to recall on behalf of the Trinamool Congress the tremendous contribution Dr. Ambedkar has had beyond the Constitution on this happy occasion. For one, the PhD thesis he wrote was the basis of the Finance Commission today. A paper he wrote is the basis for the RBI, setting up of the RBI. And the book, The Problem of the Rupee, actually is an outline of the guidelines of the RBI Act. Sir, this is a great occasion to celebrate. This is a great occasion to commemorate. But I think this is a great occasion also for, with celebration, some reflection. So there are 2 points I wish to leave behind here first for reflection. So 20 years before the Constitution, the great Mulk Raj Anand wrote a book which we read in school called Untouchable. Sir, Mulk Raj Anand's story written in the 1930s. He told us a story about a day in the life of Bakha. Bakha was a young man from an untouchable caste. Like generations of his ancestors before him, Baka had no choice but to follow the caste which his ancestors and the occupation of his ancestors. So what did he have to do? He had to scrape the latrines of human feces. And the way this was done, it had to be first scraped and then put onto a basket on his head. And invariably when the feces, he would carry the basket of feces, some of those lumps would fall on his body. Sir, could there be a more cursed occupation? Could there be a worse way to be condemned for life? Sir, the injustice which Mulk Raj Anand described was made even worse because the people in the community where Baka would do his cleaning, they wouldn't pay him much money and even they would shrink from his curse. Sir, the reason I bring this story up today of Mulk Raj Anand, it's been 68 years since independence and 85 years since this book was written. But there are still more than 1 million Bakas, 1 million manual scavengers in this country. Sir, reason to reflect, reason to pause. And here in the Rajya Sabha, as we debate, deliberate, legislate, and sometimes agitate, perhaps reason to contemplate. Sir, the second reflection is on the work ethics of the Constituent Assembly. Sir, they prepared this monumental document in 2 years, 11 months, and 7 days, under 3 years. How are we doing with our work ethic? Let's remember 1996. Sir, it's been 19 years. How good has our work ethic been? The Women's Reservation Bill is still pending here, sir, 19 years. There are two ways of looking at it. You stand up and make a speech and say, yes, we want the reservation bill, or you act. And I think we in the Trinamool Congress have acted. 35% of women members we have in the Lok Sabha, 12 out of 34. And I would urge more political parties across the spectrum, don't wait for the reservation bill, act. It's the same with the GST. The Constitution took 3 years to do, the GST has taken us 4 years. Sir, let's move on to something which the leader of the House had spoken about, and many of esteemed speakers before me have referred to the debates of the Constituent Assembly and the great work which was done. Sir, I want to go one step back. How was the Constituent Assembly formed in the first place in July, August 1946? If you go back to the British Government of India Act in 1935, so the state legislatures had their own representations. Now, in 1946-47, when the Constituent Assembly was formed, these were indirectly elected from the state. So indirectly elected, and that's why all these great men and women who were part of this writing the Constitution were indirectly elected members. So in a way, they were precursors to this Rajya Sabha. That's the very basis of this Constitution. So one gets very disturbed and saddened that a lawyer and an eloquent speaker like the leader of the House, outside the House, make statements demeaning this Rajya Sabha. To quote, and I quote the leader of the House, "It's a serious question in a parliamentary democracy wherein bill after bill, the wisdom of a directly elected House is questioned by the indirectly elected House." I have to tell, through you, sir, to the leader of the House, please do not indulge in cowboy constitutionalism. This is cowboy constitutionalism. Because it doesn't suit you now, because your party has fewer numbers than what you want to in the Rajya Sabha, so you go back and question the basic foundation of our Constitution. Sir, this is cowboy constitutionalism at its worst. And this government is getting a reputation for indulging in cowboy constitutionalism. So the second example of cowboy constitutionalism I want to give you is if you track the number of ordinances which have been passed since independence, for every 10 bills passed under Pandit Nehru, every 10 bills made into an act, one was an ordinance. You come to the 1970s with the Janata Party, for every 10 bills passed, 1.6 bills was an ordinance. You come to the UPA 1 and 2, for every 10 bills passed, 1.9 was an ordinance. What do the numbers say for NDA? In the last 15 months, for every 10 bills passed, 3 is an ordinance. The message is clear: stop indulging in cowboy constitutionalism. Sir, battles over history are not uncommon in healthy democracy. So when the leader of the Communist Party of India accuses the far right of trying to worm their way into the constitution, perhaps someone should first hold the mirror up for him. Mr. Yechuri spoke in detail and looked for a certificate which he finally got from the President of India in 1992, talking about the role of the left. We all know, who read our history, what the left were doing in 47, what the communists were doing after that in 1962. But I don't want to indulge in rhetoric. I'll just tell you. So I don't want to indulge in rhetoric. I don't want to indulge in rhetoric. I have a quote here from a book, Different Paths, One Goal, Communists and the Quit India Struggle. 4 lines from EMS Namboodiripad. And I quote from his book. It is true that we did not participate in the struggle. We did commit the serious mistake of denouncing the leaders and participants in the Quit India movement as agents of fascism and Japanese materialism. This is one quote from no less a left leader, from Mr. Namboodiripad. So when I hear these stories about nationalism and the BJP trying to worm their way into the constitution and the freedom movement, everyone is qualified to talk about it, but certainly not the Communist Party of India Marxist.
Communists were in large number arrested during that period. You should be...
Sir, don't tell me, sir, I only...
Please, please, he's not conceding.
Baba, I only quoted Namboodiripad.
When your turn comes, say it. When your turn comes, please.
You cannot accuse us.
Please.
You are not born. Your party is intelligent. Rowdies.
Please sit down. Please sit down. Please,
Sir,
please,
Sacrifice given by only by communists.
please sit down.
Sir,
Continue.
The need for tolerance.
Sir, since the honourable member named me, let me clarify what you refer to, Derek, as cowboy constitutionalism. In bicameral house-based democracies, it's a debate all over the world. Britain started this debate in 1885, which culminated till 1946. For the last 2 decades, Italy's had this debate, which has culminated in a decision last month. And therefore, in a bicameral system, the relationship between 2 houses is a constitutional issue, not a cowboy issue.
sir,
Thank you. Continue.
sir, I thought on this happy occasion, when I had used the term, it would be taken in the spirit, but the debate will continue. The debate shall continue, and I'm glad I said something strong enough to Sir, for smart one-liners and Twitter debates, sir, I'll lose.
Above the belt, please.
For a serious debate in Parliament, sir, we've done some serious research. This is not a quiz, sir, this is a debate, I agree. Sir, now that we are done with the communists, and I'm only talking about the history, and I'm only quoting published work.
There are many
Sir.
brands of history, your brand of history, their brand of history. There are many brands of history nowadays.
Please don't.
I'm only quoting ideologues, and I wish to do the same thing now.
No, you have quoted, no problem.
Sir, obviously there's a problem because you're getting upset, but it's okay.
No question of it.
Sir,
Who dares?
Please. No.
Who dares?
Please sit down.
In Indian politics, who dared to
Please
have
sit
that
down.
kind of courage to even to admit mistake? Have you seen in writing?
Please sit
Have
down.
you ever seen to any politician?
Please.
Why are you talking
Mr. O'Brien, please continue.
And please
Sir.
count how many there in
No.
throughout their life.
Precious time. is being lost. Please continue.
No, sir, it's okay. Sometimes the surround sound is nice, it's distracting, but it's nice. Sir, 1948, now after the Constituent Assembly was formed and the drafting began, sir, as we read in the history books, most of the drafting was done from 1948 to 1949. And the famous speech was made by Dr. Ambedkar in November 1949. So 48, 49, these 23, 24 months, sir, were very important for the drafting. Sir, on the 30th of January, 1948, a sad incident, a tragic incident occurred. One which Pandit Nehru said, the light has gone out of our lives. Sir, a few weeks after that incident, the then Home Minister of India, Vallabhbhai Patel, took a decision. What was his decision, sir? He banned the RSS. This is very interesting. So, even though the communists had someone on the drafting committee making a few points or what I don't know, but the RSS was banned in 1948, 48, 49 for the drafting. Sir, and I have a quote here. Today is a great occasion where we need to find out what is the ideology in place. Either we follow A or we follow B. I'll come to B later. I've got a quote here, sir. This is from Guru Gowalkar. We are nationhood defined. 5 lines, sir, and this is quote from the book. The non-Hindu people in Hindustan must either adopt the Hindu culture and language, must learn to respect and revere the Hindu religion. They must glorify the glorification of the Hindu nation. This is Guru Golwalkar. They must stay in the country wholly subordinated to the Hindu nation, claiming nothing, deserving no privileges, for less any preferential treatment, not even the citizen's right. Sir, these are not my words. These are Guru Golwalkar's words. The Prime Minister is here this afternoon to speak on this debate. This is a great and momentous occasion to either tell us B, the Indian Constitution, or A, this doesn't work. Because A and B cannot go together, sir. They cannot go together. They are miles and miles apart, sir. That was, sir, in 48, 49. Now you come to September 2002, another ideologue, or a modern day ideologue, doesn't have the same stature maybe as Guru Golwalkar. So this is September 2002. I'm not getting into the details of 2002, not a good occasion, sir. But this is the quote. In India, Hindutva has more legitimacy than the constitution. S. Gurumurthy, September 2002. Sir, we didn't hear these voices for 10, 12 years, but these voices again have come up and come up and come up. Sir, but there is good news. In December 2014, just about 300 and something days ago, Mamata Banerjee made a statement on the Constitution. She said, and I quote, "The Constitution is the only holy book of this great nation." And on November 27th, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "The Constitution is the only holy book for this government." And it was, I wasn't hearing his campaign, I was hearing the Lok Sabha speech. But so this is a great time to clarify whether A is right or B is right, and which is the true holy book of this nation. Sir, federalism. Sir, if you look through the Constitution, all 111,000 words, you can't find the word federalism. It's never mentioned there, sir. But the first article clearly talks about India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Sir, I don't want to go, we've already had so many debates on federalism, but I want to give one example only. And it's a pity Ben Mayawati is not here today, because I thought of this actually after she spoke. Now, come to the devolution of funds. 26 funds have been either reduced or their percentage between the center and the state have been flipped around. And 8 funds, center has stopped funding the states. I don't want to go into a technical accounting debate. One example is the BRGF, the Backward Region Fund. Sir, if you look, that has been stopped completely. Sir, if you look at the BRGF, who does it benefit? What are the social categories, sir? In rural areas, 46% scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, 40% OBCs. On one end, you're celebrating Dr. Ambedkar's birth anniversary, and on the other end, you're taking away BRGF from the SC, ST, and OBCs. Sir, in the urban areas, this is the BRGF figure, sir. 47% SC, ST, 9% OBC. So there are so many points, sir, on federalism, Niti Aayog, the Planning Commission, the Prime Minister sometimes calling up the Chief Secretary. But let's not bring this debate down with those details. Suffice to say, talk about cooperative federalism, but on the ground, stick to operative federalism.
Please conclude.
Sir, I've got 2 more points. Sir, secularism. Sir, if you go back to the origins of this word very quickly, it comes from the Latin or the Greek. In the Latin or the Greek, seculum, it basically means that which was not church, that which was not religion, anything of the world which was that which was not church. Sir, and we've got into a debate. The Home Minister made a statement on the floor of the Lok Sabha about what he thought of secularism. And there have been countless statements being made outside. Sir, but what was missed out that day? The same day, the highest law officer of the land, 3 times when he read the preamble or referred to the preamble in his speeches on Law Day that day, he did not use the word secularism. Was that, or secular, was that a mistake? Was that the fringe? Was that the mainstream? And the danger here, sir, the fringe and the mainstream are blurring, sir. Sir, I need another 5-6 minutes only.
No, please.
Sir, because my party, sir, there are people who've spoken here for 45 minutes, sir. Please give me a little more time. Sir, so here I propose, in the resolution which comes here, to please include the word pluralism, sir, because that is very, very important. Sir, I have just 2 more points. Sir, the leader of the House took me back to history class, very interestingly, and I quote, when constitutional systems are used to subvert the Constitution. And he gave us the example of the Weimar Republic and Germany. Step 1, burn the Reichstag, Parliament. Step 2, muzzle the media. Step 3, lock up the opponents. Step 4, economic agenda. Yes, I know he was alluding to the 1970s, and some of my friends here may be a little queasy in their seats. But that is history, sir. What caused us more concern was when he said about step 1, Parliament, hatao, step 2, muzzle the media. I think this was a subconscious maybe. The subconscious plans coming to light, and that's why this Weimar Republic part of the Constitution is so stuck in the head. Is this a plan? Thankfully, is this a plan? But thankfully, this plan got scuttled after what happened in Bihar. And that's why we're here, sir. Sir, in conclusion, sir, as our young men and women go across the world in so many things and make ourselves proud, we too, when we were making our constitution, took so many ideas from across the world. The concepts of liberty, equality, and fraternity were taken from the French. The concepts of directive principles was taken from the Irish. The judicial concepts, some of were taken from Japan. The concept of federalism was taken from Canada and Australia. And the Soviet Union, they say, gave us the Planning Commission. So this is beautiful, sir. But I want to leave you with the thought of, let me leave with you with a constructive suggestion, because otherwise the cynicism of having this 2-3 day debate will always be there. So our constructive suggestion, sir, for young people between 18 and 30, so they don't feel that we are only coming here and making speeches and referring to a 113,000 word book, and we are not living the book, we are not breathing the reality. Sir, I conclude by making a positive suggestion. Next year, sir, before we make our speeches, we propose to have a CAM, a CAM, and this is the thought I want to leave behind with the government. A CAM is a Constituent Assembly module. Set it up in Delhi. Let young people between the ages of 18 and 30 come there and actually experience this module where they can actually take up issues and discuss these issues, see how legislation is done. So this is an idea we want to leave behind.
Thank you.
Because as we say, sir, we have to learn from the past, experience the present, and prepare for the future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.